he's saying good morning to you, tongue-in-cheek, because I tell you, man, it's a soggy Monday morning here in Grenada. Um, but we still have a lot to be thankful for. It ain't snowing. We don't have tornadoes. We don't have hail. We don't have tsunamis. Just a lot of rain. A lot of rain. This thing was started yesterday afternoon. Folks, we can talk a little bit. In fact, pretty much everything we're going to talk about in the first segment this morning has to do with the weather. Okay? Oh, by the way, once again, good morning, and I'm George Grant, and welcome to today's edition of Good Day Grenada. Yes, sir. I certainly hope you folks had a great weekend and are now ready to take on the challenges and accept the blessings as well that are coming your way this week. So, as I mentioned, first segment this morning, everything to do with the weather. First of all, NADMA does not know when the list of shelters will be released. I'm going to explain all of that to you this morning. I actually spoke to their public relations officer last night. Okay? Yeah, this has been in my craw for a little while now. We also have the national report for you from the Government Information Service. And then, the first segment may be a little bit depressing, but I'll tell you, we're going to wrap it up this morning by having a guest. You know, on Monday mornings, we don't usually have anybody sitting here. Sometimes pre-recorded stuff from around 9:30 on. But this morning, I do have an attorney at law, good friend of mine, James Bristol, better known to everybody as Jimmy. Jimmy is coming in here this morning. He's going to be sitting in that chair right next to me. And you're about to hear that Grenadians have scored a huge victory over government. Put a smile on your face? It should. Because it's about time. Yeah. I'm not going to go into the details. When Jimmy and I get cranked up at about 9:30 this morning, I spoke to him just a few minutes ago. When we get cranked up, you'll get all the scoop on that. Huge victory. Huge, huge, huge. Now, I mentioned to you that pretty much everything in the first segment this morning has to do with the weather. Most of it, by the way, appears to have now moved away to the west of us. But as far as I can tell, judging by the satellite picture that I looked at within the last half hour or so, you can expect the overcast to be around for a while, okay? Now, actually, it's the only cancellation I've heard of so far, but yes, there was a basketball camp which was scheduled to begin today. There's a gentleman here, his name is Coach Lambert Shell. He's the head basketball coach of Kingsborough Community College in New York. And he was scheduled to begin a basketball camp here this morning. You've seen and heard the ads running on Grenada Broadcast over the past few days. Well, today's camp was supposed to be at the Grenville Basketball Court, but has had to be canceled because of the inclement weather. However, the camp will resume tomorrow morning at the Grenadians Basketball Court starting at 9 o'clock. Yeah, And I want to say thanks to Mags. Mags has been very helpful in me getting that information out to you. Thanks, Mags. Now, let's continue. Let's turn to NADMA. Pains my heart. At 2:38 on Sunday afternoon, I received an advisory from NADMA. And right now, I'd like to quote for you that release. The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, has been advised, remember this is 2:38 yesterday afternoon, by the Meteorological Office at the Maurice Bishop International Airport that Grenada and her dependencies are expected to be affected by a tropical wave on Sunday the 14th and Monday the 15th of July. According to the midday weather forecast from the Met Office, conditions are expected to be partly cloudy and breezy, gradually increasing in cloudiness, with moderate to heavy scattered nighttime showers and isolated thunderstorms. A possible flood and landslide warning has also been issued. NADMA therefore advises citizens to be vigilant and cautious when traveling or if you live in areas prone to flooding. We further remind the general public that we are officially in the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season. No kidding. And encourage all citizens to be prepared. NADMA, through the Meteorological Office, will continue to monitor the tropical wave and provide an update of any changes. For additional information, please contact Ms. Oslin Crosby, Public Relations Officer, NADMA, on 440-8390 and 440-0838. Cell number 533-0766, or email nadma@spiceisle.com and nadmapr@gmail.com. NADMA, the official source for all disaster-related information in Grenada. All right? That was the text of the release, 2:38. In other words, about 22 minutes to 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Pilgrims, less than an hour after that email was received, all hell broke loose. Thunder, lightning, rain showers, and really dark skies. But that's not all. This was the second tropical wave to hit us in a week. And I noticed that we still do not have a list of hurricane shelters. So what does Georgie Porgy do? He jumps on the phone. I called the first two numbers, 440-8390 and 440-0838. These are the numbers I just read to you there in the release, which I received from NADMA. Okay? Those numbers were published for anybody wanting information about the system. Well, guess what? No answer. So I called a third number, and that's a mobile number shown in the release, 533-0766. Someone did answer. I eventually determined that it was Ms. Oslin Crosby, the Public Relations Officer for NADMA. The reason why I said eventually determined, it's because it took a while, because there was an awful lot of noise in the background, a lot of music. I could just barely hear what she was saying. Actually, you know what? I had intended to record the conversation to play for you this morning, since I had told her that it was George Grant, Grenada Broadcast, calling. But it simply wouldn't have made any sense. There was just simply too much noise. But I persisted in firing off some questions. I asked, where could I find the list of shelters for the 2019 hurricane season? Because of the noise, I could hardly understand what she was saying. But I eventually gathered that she was saying that the list had not been published. True confession. Now, Grenada, this is 6 weeks. 6 weeks, a month and a half after the start of the hurricane season. So my obvious question was, why the delay? I believe that what she was trying to explain was that an inspector who had to inspect the buildings was unable to do so. I reminded her that on June 4th, we were promised that the list would be available the following week. And I asked why a partial list had not been given to the public. She said, no, they can't do that. And therefore, you'll have to wait until the complete list is prepared. Okay. My next question. When is that list likely to be completed? She said that she didn't know, and that it was out of NADMA's hands. What I was able to gather, again, with all the noise in the background, is that NADMA has apparently completed its work, and the report is now in the hands of Cabinet. So now, we are at the mercy of Cabinet while the hurricane season continues to heat up. Grenada, if you're not yet concerned about the lackadaisical games that our government is playing with your very lives, you should be. Not only do they routinely fail to keep you in the loop, when you ask questions, you're made to feel like you're an annoyance. Yep, you. You who give them a whoop. You whose resources they plunder without accountability. From the release I read to you earlier, let me read a quote. This is an exact quote. We further remind the general public that we are officially into the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season and encourage all citizens to always be prepared. Are you serious, NADMA? Why don't you just cut out the rhetoric? We're into the hurricane season and you still haven't told me where the shelters are, not even the few that you said already exist and are okay? Your release ends with the usual tag, and I quote here again. NADMA, the official source for all disaster-related information in Grenada. Oh, please, give me a break. Don't you folks have any shame? Why do you think Grenadians have turned away from you in droves and to the outside agencies and social media for information about the weather? And you get to ticked off when people start spreading a lot of false gossip out there. You're not mamma-guying anyone, folks, but yourselves. The joke's on you. Watch out. Your day is coming. You will be held accountable, as will your government. The sad thing is, it's going to cost taxpayers who will have to pay for your folly. A word to the wise. You know, that's one of the reasons why I really want you guys to be sure to be listening after the national report this morning. Jimmy Bristol has just arrived, and he is going to break some news to you folks, which I guarantee you is going to put a smile on your face this morning. Let me say a quick, boy, you guys busy. Let me say a quick hello to the folks out there. Ryan Jabon says, fun at the beach. Sorry about Grenada rain. Yeah. Margaret is saying good morning to you folks. Ryan says he likes Jimmy. Anthea is saying, heard it's rain, thunder, and lightning. Drive safely on the wet roads, says Anthea. Fitzroy Adams is saying good morning. Peter Bishop is in Long Island. Arthur Langein says thanks for your true information. Benedict Cador says marvelous Monday all. I was off the grid since Wednesday. Glad to be back, rejuvenated. Looking forward to catching up on what I missed. Marissa Walker is saying good morning. Peter Bishop, I need to know which shelter I should go to in the case of a hurricane. Don't we all? John Bruno is saying good morning. Arthur Langang says, I just called NADMA and tell that I am listening to you and what a bad job they are doing in getting the information out to the people. Thanks, Arthur. Ryan is saying mediocrity and complacency in Grenada at its best. Okay. Folks, here's our first break. We'll come back with a national report.
Mr. Watts, wait. Why are you removing my sign?
Sorry, Larry, but you can't put the sign on an electricity pole. That is an accident waiting to happen.
Mr. Watts, man, I just finished this new house. I need to put up a sign so that people would know that the apartment is for rent. Why can't I put my sign on the pole?
Larry, you should know better. Think about it. Nails, staples, glue, and signs make it difficult for linesmen to quickly and safely climb poles, and it can delay their response time when there is an emergency. These objects can prevent linesmen responding as quickly as they should in an emergency.
You know, I've never thought about those things, but you're absolutely right.
On top of that, Larry, your sign was covering the pole identification number. What if someone needed to report a fault? The pole number tells Grenlec exactly where the problem is and allows them to respond faster.
Whoa, I really didn't consider all these things, you know. Come, let me help you take this down.
Remember, be safe, be smart. No more signs, banners, or posters on electricity poles.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
This summer, make your dreams a reality with a Co-op Bank Summer Sizzle loan. Get up to $20,000 and qualify for a chance to win a staycation at Silver Sands. Go on a vacation, enjoy the carnival season, have your dream wedding, or make home improvements. Make this summer sizzle with everything you want it to be. Visit your nearest retail banking unit for more details. Special terms and conditions apply.
Welcome home.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fest Supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan.
Sports Incorporated Summer Camp 2019. Summer Camp starts July 6th at Progress Park and moves to Fawn Playing Field on July 8th and Mud Rouge Playing Field on July 9th and 10th. Basketball Camp starts on July 15th at Grenville Basketball Court, then moves to Grenadians Basketball Court from July 16th to 19th. Camp open for both boys and girls, age 8 to 18. Runs from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. daily. Log on to Life Quality Sports Inc. Facebook page and register now for this summer's basketball and soccer camp. For more information, call 417-0783 or 537-2400. Life Quality Sports. Let's get better together.
Seven officers recognized by the Regional Security System for service during the aftermath of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Friday, July 12th, I am Sherry-Ann Noel. 67 police officers have been awarded with Medals of Honor by the Regional Security System, RSS, for service during the restoration of islands following the passage of Hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017. The officers were a part of humanitarian assistance, disaster response, recovery and rehabilitation contingent in Barbuda and Dominica. On Friday, during an investiture ceremony, the officers were presented with their medals for outstanding service. Acting Prime Minister Honorable Gregory Boeing says Grenada's contribution to the recovery efforts should not be concealed, but highlighted to show how valuable the RGPF is in the execution of service to people.
The unfortunate reality is that even in times of disaster, there are elements in our society who will take advantage of the vulnerable and capitalize on the uncertainties which exist. It therefore requires, more often than not, deployment of specially trained personnel to assist in re-establishing order and stability, to facilitate relief and recovery efforts. It is within this context that Grenada's contribution through the RGPF as part of the RSS proved to be of tremendous value.
A proud acting commissioner of police, Edwin Martin, said for the police force, providing assistance to the islands was not done for recognition, but merely fulfilling civic duties. He charged the officers to share the knowledge obtained during the restoration with their colleagues and family, so that Grenada's preparation for disasters can increase.
Today, we are recognized and honored for that. Distribution of relief supplies, security duties, and the enforcement of curfew, as well as rendering assistance for the reconstruction of buildings, which yield many law enforcement successes and contributed to the restoration of normalcy within that state. We have witnessed firsthand the catastrophic devastation of such a system, and therefore we are critically aware of the importance of making appropriate personal, family, and professional. But you, my colleague officers, do not keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with colleagues.
The officers are now authorized to publicly wear the RSS medals daily. The Ministry of Agriculture is reminding persons, especially farmers, that they can be prosecuted for burning for agricultural purposes without first getting the requisite permission. We have a report from Karima Lewis, Public Relations Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands.
Due to the hazardous risk of burning, especially in large plots of lands, the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands is reminding the public that they must first apply to the ministry for a license that would give them the authority to burn. This license will give persons the go-ahead to burn solely for agricultural purposes, according to the Agricultural Fires Act of 1951, which states that any person who before commencing the setting of fires on land shall apply in writing or appear in person to an authorized officer of the Ministry of Agriculture. Tasked with that responsibility is the Chief Extension Officer of the Ministry, Randolph Shears. He says the applicant must give good reasons for applying for that license.
We in the ministry, we advise that burning should be a last option because there are some materials that farmers can use for composting, which in composting the material is can be used as manure, as well as there are some materials that can be left in the field to rot. Now, if the cut materials is very difficult to compose or to leave in an area to rot, then we at the ministry considers issuing a license.
Mr. Shears noted that if the license is refused, then the farmer will be given advice as to what can be done to the material. He explains the terms and conditions that the farmers must adhere to once the license is granted.
The license is granted subject to the following terms and conditions. 1, that the fire be set in small heaps which can be managed. 2, that there is a reasonable area cleared between the heaps and existing crops and neighbors' lands to prevent spreading of the fire. Thirdly, a supply of water must be available during the entire operations. And fourthly, the fire service of the Royal Grenada Police Force should be notified before the setting of any fire.
Sergeant Adrian Panchu, officer attached to the Fire Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force, speaks to the penalty for burning without the issuance of a license.
If someone goes ahead and burn on agricultural lands without obtaining a license or without applying for a license, the penalty is $500 or 3 months in prison. The law speaks to a person who would have applied not getting any answer or any response to their application within 10 days. It says that that person can go ahead and burn. So if someone goes into the Ministry of Agriculture on, let's imagine, on the 1st of July, and today is the 10th of July, and tomorrow they hadn't received any response saying yea or nay to the license, they can go ahead and burn. And under that section of the law, as fire personnel, if we are called in, we would not be able to arrest and charge a person for setting fire without a license in that case. However, if the fire gets out of control, they can be charged for any damages that can be caused to any other person's property.
For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lewis.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, Spice Man.
Coming down to Grenada.
Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fats, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and the Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest Juve in the world, followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13th. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8th to 12th for Spice Mass 2019. Many events, one carnival.
Welcome back. Unite, Thrive, Grow. The theme under which the 15th Western Hemisphere Regional Conference was held in Grenada. The conference, which saw the participation of 24 countries, concluded Friday. The conference is held annually to engage member countries in forums and workshops geared towards strengthening and improving the growth and visibility of the Girl Guides movement worldwide. Governor General Her Excellency Dame Cecile La Grenade, in delivering the feature address, highlighted the importance of the Girl Guides movement to economic development. She said being a part of the association helps foster growth and harness the potential of girls through essential training in leadership roles and life skills.
Guides must be encouraged to value learning through participation in activities that demonstrate methodology, purpose, and logic behind such activities. Hiking and the exploration of nature, for example, can spark interest in climate change, one of the most pressing issues of our times. The educational methods of guiding should therefore create a learning environment where young people can take the lead and make informed decisions and choices.
World Chair Ana Maria Medeiros said this year's theme is critical in the growth of Girl Guides worldwide. She called for each movement to work together to establish sustainability and advancement.
The region will take a main central position in making the connection, in coordinating our work based on the characteristics and on the needs of all your countries. Our region, the Western Hemisphere, have a rich diversity. We join and we share our best practices. Let's try to look on new and innovative ways, and let's use our strength and our learnings.
The Government of Grenada pledges its continued support to the local association as it focuses on nurturing future leaders.
I hope this conference will be a learning experience for you. May you feel empowered and motivated to work hard individually and with others, so that you can be the best you can be and to help our country be the best it can be. The Government of Grenada will continue to support and to partner with the Grenada Girl Guides Association in whatever way possible, so we can all strive to raise up outstanding young leaders and citizens of tomorrow.
That was Minister for Youth Development Honorable Keith Lewis. Grenada was nominated host of this year's conference at the 12th Regional Conference in Curacao in 2016. And finally, active participation was displayed at Her Majesty's Prison grounds on Thursday as the prisons held their 10th annual sporting event as part of its rehabilitation and inclusion process. With rehabilitation of inmates being the main focus of the event, Her Majesty's Prisons opened its doors to the general public as a means of support to their loved ones at the institution. 4 teams had the opportunity to compete in 24 events. Superintendent of Prisons, Rupert Nichols, was pleased with the participation of the inmates. He says the intention is to have inmates successfully reintegrated into society upon their release.
The importance of the activity today is, as I said before, is under the rehabilitation unit, and sports is one of the key components of the rehabilitation unit. And at the same time, as I said, 10 years ago, and we had seen tremendous success over the years. Number one is that the inmates would maintain a healthy lifestyle, and in order, because it's preparation for reintegration into society. So by maintaining a healthy lifestyle, going through the rehabilitation program, upon release they can have contribute meaningfully towards the family, in the community, and the country as a whole.
Donation of prizes have been made in support of the event.
The business community out there has been very supportive to us in donating prizes towards the competition, and we will have a day fixed for prize giving ceremony after the competition.
And that story just ended the national report for Friday, July 12th. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sharian Noel, thanking you for viewing.
summer, make your dreams a reality with a Co-op Bank Summer Sizzle loan. Get up to $20,000 and qualify for a chance to win a staycation at Silver Sands. Go on a vacation. Enjoy the carnival season. Have your dream wedding or make home improvements. Make this summer sizzle with everything you want it to be. Visit your nearest retail banking unit for more details. Special terms and conditions apply.
Conveniently located in the Grenadians Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadians will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep,
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grenneck, it is. Dial 237 for any Grenneck department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grenneck access number handy. Dial 237 for Grenneck. It's that easy. Grenneck, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks. I tell you what, there are a lot of comments during that newscast, but I'm going to skip those this morning because see that gentleman sitting there? That's Jimmy Bristol. Now, this segment is captioned, Government of Grenada is about to learn a lesson. Courts have ruled in favor of numerous Grenadians who have taken the government to task. However, many of them are yet to see a black cent from these judgments. That's about to change, thanks to this gentleman you're looking at over here. Jimmy, I want you to start by taking me by the hand. Explain to me what you did and why you did it. Oh, by the way, you can still say good morning to them.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, George. Well, I've always observed that what you've just said, that beneficiaries of money judgments against the government of Grenada over as many years I've been practicing and before have never been honored. And the government almost tells you to get lost when they owe you money, and when they owe you money pursuant to a judgment of the court. And I've been dying to see if I could find a way around that, because I think it's wrong that the government can act with impunity, disregard judgments of the court, and then people suffer because someone's property may have been taken, for example. It may be a motor vehicle accident. It may be a debt, maybe a loan the government took, and the bank or the lending institution or the lender sues, gets a judgment, and can't get their money. And the governments were just laughing at the people. And an opportunity came up to challenge it. And actually I took a long-term view of this, because the proceedings actually began when I sued several police officers and the Attorney General for unconstitutional or unlawful search and seizure. And I won the case and got substantial damages for the individuals whom I represented. So that in itself was a victory. But as usual, the government refused to pay. So they violated somebody's rights. Those rights were vindicated in a court. And then the government refused to pay. So I took proceedings under the Crown Proceedings Act to get the Permanent Secretary of Finance to comply with the provisions of the Act to have the money paid. But that doesn't bear fruit, because I'll explain in a minute. I also joined the commercial banks in Grenada because I didn't know where government had its money. And I froze a bank account of one of the banks belonging to the government. And then the government got that release. But within the proceedings for freezing the government's bank account, I'd raised the issue of the bar, the prohibition that the law, and I'll get into that, against enforcing money judgments against the government. The government put a lot of roadblocks in our way, which we successfully challenged in the Court of Appeal, who directed that the matter be heard on the constitutionality of the government's so-called protection from enforcement of money judgments. I'm putting this in layperson's terms for the moment. So in other words, a summary of it is, government, you cannot, if George Grant gets a judgment against Jimmy Bristol for $1,000, you can go to the court. If I have land, they can sell my land. If I have a car, the court can seize it. If I have a TV, they can come into my property and take my chattels, my goods, to enforce the judgment. But the government, you cannot do that, all right, because of a law. So, it was a constitutional motion. We took a constitutional point that the law which affords or appears to afford the government immunity from prosecution or immunity from satisfaction of its monetary obligations pursuant to a judgment of the High Court is unconstitutional. Let's deal with the law. The law is the Crown Proceedings Act. Now, the Crown Proceedings Act came in about 1947, not just in Grenada, but throughout the Commonwealth, all around the same time. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, South Africa, etc. The entire British Caribbean territories. And that law regulated the rights of people to sue the government, how you sue, what's the procedure, and how you recover your judgments. But what it did, the Crown Proceedings Act, it said when you get a judgment, you have to approach the Permanent Secretary, who will issue an order for payment, in effect. But that is never effective, because if the Permanent Secretary doesn't control the money, he's right. And as I had that in a case here for another client around the same time as this case, where I brought the Permanent Secretary before court to compel him to pay the money. But of course, he doesn't control the money.
Right.
He's just the person in the office. So so the remedy in the Crown Proceedings Act to go after the Permanent Secretary doesn't guarantee you any money. This is the law, the Crown Proceedings Act, Section 21, subsection 4. Save as aforesaid, save as going against the Permanent Secretary to get him to pay. No execution or attachment or process in the nature thereof shall be issued out of any court for the enforcing payment by the Crown of any money judgment. Okay? Execution, attachment, or process. No court can use its powers to execute, attach, or use any other process to enforce an order for money judgment against the government. That means, execution means the process by which the judgment is enforced. For example, George Grant, Jimmy Bristol, the court can give you an order for sale of land if you have land. They can give you an order to, the court will seize your property, your car, your TV, etc. Not against the government. Now, what that means is that your judgment is worthless. And that's why the government could laugh at all of us, successive governments over the years, not just in Grenada, but throughout the Caribbean, because we know what governments in the Caribbean generally are like. So, I challenged this provision on the basis that Section 8.8 of the Constitution says we're entitled to a fair hearing before an impartial tribunal. And if you're having a fair hearing, you must also have the fruits of that fair hearing, which is the enforcement of the judgment. And the High Court of Grenada last week, Friday, on the 12th of June, agreed with our submissions. I didn't present the case because I'm not well enough to go to court, but my junior, Mrs. Melissa Modesh Singh, did a brilliant job, and she presented the case. And the judge agreed with the submissions. And in summary, before I go into what he said, the effect of the judgment is that the protection afforded by Section 21(4) of the Crown Proceedings Act, which protects the government and grants the government immunity from seizure and sale of its assets to satisfy a money judgment, is unconstitutional, null and void, as it infringes your fair trial rights. When you get a judgment of the court, you're supposed to be able to have an effective remedy by way of enforcement. And the court struck it down, citing several cases, Privy Council in the case of Gary, which cited cases from Canada, India, and elsewhere, and a case from the Supreme Court of South Africa, which had the same act as we do, and which struck that identical provision down on the same basis. And so, as it stands, the government must the government is no longer protected from execution. It's no longer protected from its property being seized in order to satisfy a money judgment. So there are lots of nice vehicles you can probably end up driving or selling. Land, buildings. You know, the implications of this judgment are far-reaching and this judgment puts a lot of power in the hands of the people. Because for once, the people of Grenada can say, enough is enough. I am going to get you for this. And that is what's really important. Because governments have taken advantage for too long over the people, have acted above the law, continue in many aspects of society to act above the law. But in this one, it's finished.
Well,
no, just to say, It is, of course, subject to appeal.
I was just going
All
to
right,
raise that.
and I expect the Crown to appeal. Of course, it's such a serious point, and I'm see this going all the way to the Privy Council as well, because certainly if we lose before the Court of Appeal, we'll take it to the Privy Council, and I'm sure if the government loses, they will also take it to the Privy Council, because you really need a final decision on this. But I'm confident that we'll succeed all the way up there.
Couple of comments here. Somebody named John Bruno says, "Thanks, Jimmy. I've been waiting for over 20 years." I bet you know a lot of people like that, eh?
Yeah, many people. I've seen people cry in my chambers. I've seen people with such a look of despondency and that they're just at their wits' end, and they feel that the very rug has been pulled out from under their feet. And you feel you hurt for them. And finally, they can be vindicated. You know, what these governments don't realize, George, what they don't realize is only so far that you can run, you know. I had to run down police and the Attorney General for bad behavior and illegal behavior to get to this point on this constitutional matter. Yeah? So you can play around, you can do all the naughty things you want to do, but you can only do it for so long.
It's going to catch up with you.
It's going to catch up, and a lot of things are going to catch up because there are a lot of things going to happen now. Because we got a lot of cases in the court on constitutional matters going on right now.
Well, you know, something I want you to talk about, I don't want to keep you here for the whole morning, but I'm going to ask you in a little while about the impact this is going to have on government and whether or not it's going to make them more accountable. But before that, Margaret in New York says, "Whoa! Fantastic ruling for the people of Grenada. Great work, Jimmy." Say hi, Margaret.
Hi, Margaret. I've never done this Facebook thing before, so it's all new. I'm not even seeing myself. I just got a camera pointing at me.
Margaret, this man doesn't even have Facebook. He told me this morning he hasn't got Twitter or Ditter. Have you ever heard of Ditter? Gives you an idea how...
No social media.
How social savvy he is not. Okay, let me ask you this, Jimmy. Do you think this is going to have an impact, you know, in making government more accountable? Because
but it's got to, because they know they're going to... When people start taking their property, when I froze their bank account, all right, they got away on a technicality, and the client told me, "Don't bother, go take it any further." But I could have continued the freeze. All up to how many million was I froze their bank account. You think they're going to like that when I freeze their bank account? No. I can still freeze a bank account without this judgment, because that's a different matter. But if I start, the bailiff goes down to the ministerial complex at the Botanical Gardens and picks up a few of those lovely vehicles belonging to the government. You think they're going to like that? You know what I mean?
John says, government said they had a pool of money to pay. What became of that? You know, I think just a few months ago they supposedly started paying out the people they'd owed as a result of court judgments.
Well, that's a good thing if they are doing that. But the point is, government would have to think twice when they're embarking upon any course of action which may result in a money judgment. Because the more money judgments you have, the more depleted the state's coffers are going to become. So while you may have some money now to pay what you ought to have paid before now, going forward, the government, I'm more likely will have to temper its actions and think twice about what they're doing, because they can't get away with it anymore. Imagine you're going to bit of land, a nice bit of land, wherever they got a nice bit of land, you know, you just get a nice acre or two. I'd love that. And then the government will have no land.
All right, Jimmy, listen, obviously you put your neck on the line to get this done. I'm sure it's taken a long time. And what this has proven is that action can, in fact, be taken against the government. There are a lot of people who, you know, the government runs all over them, and they don't act.
Well, you know, George, the person in whose name this suit was brought didn't act. I was helping. It's a pro bono. Okay, this all started with pro bono, and
you're kidding.
Yeah, it's all pro bono. The entire process. The case was filed in 2010. That from which this thing emanated. That's 9 years ago. All pro bono. A lot of people, one, do not know of their rights. Two, do not know how to have those rights vindicated. So it's recognizing that you have been wronged and knowing what to do about it, right? Also, a lot of people are scared to go to a lawyer because of fees, But if you have, to me, against the government, you got to. We lawyers should really bend over backwards. I know lots of us do, but to give people the confidence that they can come and we will really try and help them, because a lot of these things are cases of abuse, oppression, advantage, failing to recognize and uphold people's rights. And this is serious. We have to take action to stop this state acting like some of these rogue countries in the world. And we know the ones we're talking about, the North Koreans. We want to be like that. We want to be like Zimbabwe. What do we want?
Thanks, Jimmy. In part, you've answered my next question, because I was going to ask you, why isn't more and more of this happening? Like I said, I know you put your neck on the line for this, but you're not the only lawyer in town, and I would really love to see a few more lawyers, kick butt like you're doing.
Yeah, well, I had a few. A few lawyers have done some serious cases. The case with the cabinet secretary, Rohan Philip, it was a brilliant case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a brilliant case. We've got the pension cases coming up. We filed those on the constitutionality, but finally, and quite a few of those. They've got the teachers' deduction of salary for the strikes last year, I think. Those are before the court, constitutional again. So there are few, there are few irons in the fire, and we're going to continue. We're going to continue standing up for the rights of the people.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. It's paying off, and I'm sure that what has been heard here this morning has been music to the ears of a lot of people. And hopefully it's the start of the end of the rogue attitude that we've been experiencing here in this country.
It is indeed. And there are lots of other areas where I didn't mention, where we got actions going, but we have to take a stand, because otherwise we're going to find ourselves in anarchy. The law and order...
We're pretty damn close to that.
We're very close. There's very little law and order in Grenada right now. It's all about favoritism. And, I watched the film Long Road to Freedom last night, Nelson Mandela, about his biography. And I realized that we have apartheid in Grenada. And the apartheid here is not based on the color of your skin, but it's based on the color of your character. And if your color of character is righteousness and right thinking and right behavior, you are ostracized. And what is shameful is that when a man like Mandela stood up in all dignity and refused to take revenge after what he had been through on the people who oppressed him and his people, that we are being oppressed by our people, when not one of them ever went to jail and was oppressed by us. It's shameful. And we are living in a period of apartheid based on your character. And it's time for us to take a stand and tell those people who run in the show, we're not going to lie down. I'm not going to lie down. And they know that. I could smile. I don't want them to watch this program. I'm not going to lie down. And ain't nothing you can do to me. I'm going to stand up to it.
I join you, Mr. Bristol. I join you. Arthur Langine says, good morning, sir. I'm very proud of you and the efforts you're making on behalf of my people in Grenada. Thank you, says Mr. Arthur Langine. I think he's in New York.
All right, Arthur. Nice. Thanks for your support. That's what we're here for. You know, you got to have a purpose in life, and God puts you in a particular position. You got to use your talents to help others, and that's what it's about.
Another New Yorker, Kipling Francis, says, "I won't be myself if I do not join in saying thanks, Mr. Jimmy. May God be your guide." And I join Kipling because I think a lot of us wish the same for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know that you're a believer, and I want our viewers to recognize that Jimmy and I hold very steadfastly to the Word of God. Are we perfect?
Far from it.
But we know the God whom so many people out there deny and doubt. Thanks a lot, Jimbo. Good to see you, boy. And listen, when last were you here? 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Well, I haven't been too well, so
Yeah.
I'm just getting back into the office and moving around a bit now. So
You keep mashing up yourself, man.
yeah, I hurt my back and I had an operation, so I
Yeah.
couldn't move. But you're gonna see me a bit more. I'm sure we'll have a lot more discussion coming up about this matter.
I would really appreciate that. And Maureen Batiste, I don't know who Maureen is, but she says, God bless you, sir. Lawrence Kruthoff says, "Hi, Jimmy. Thank you for a job well done. Thanks." We see the appreciation. There are a lot of Grenadians in this country who think differently than
There are, you know, I think the government is fooling itself. The government really believes that there's got massive support out there. George, every day, people who are big supporters of the government telling me they don't like what's happening in the country, this, that. They put them there, and look at how they behave, and this and that, and what's happening, and no rules. Tons. There's a major undercurrent, and that is where change comes. Change comes from undercurrent, and it's going to happen. But a lot of people are scared because of losing their job, they're not going to get a contract, you know, et cetera, and this sort of thing. But when we stand up and they see that actually there are results for standing up and sticking to your guns and sticking to what is right and insisting that the right be done, well, there's nothing wrong insisting that the right be done.
Yeah.
So we are beyond criticism for doing that. We're not beyond persecution for doing it, but we are beyond criticism. And they're two different things.
There was a town hall meeting in Montreal on the weekend, and I don't usually watch a lot of this stuff, but for some reason, something drew me to watching a rebroadcast of this town hall meeting. The Prime Minister was at this meeting. And I spent a lot of time, something I don't do, reading the comments on Facebook regarding what they were watching and listening. Talk about undercurrent, Jimmy. Talk about these guys better open their eyes fast.
Yeah,
fast.
They're gonna get a serious wake-up call, and they're burying their heads in the sand.
Yeah.
You know. But you see, what is happening is when you bury your head in the sand by surrounding yourself with more and more with yes people, but the group of yes people gets smaller and smaller, and you know what gets bigger and bigger? The group of the security people around you gets bigger and bigger. Is that what you see happening? Of course, that's what's happening. Typical of a dictatorship.
Yeah.
That is so typical, and it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. The longest rope has an end. Thanks, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
By the way, I don't know if you know Clive Devers, but Clive, God knows where he is this morning. This guy, his home is in Ajax. That's a little town just east of Toronto. But this guy travels all over the world constantly, so I don't know where he is. But he says, the purpose of life, and this guy, by the way, is a believer. He says, the purpose of life is to give it away.
Yes, indeed.
Some people just hold on real tightly.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, we're all going to go. We are only custodians of everything that we have.
He says the true meaning of life is to find your gift. I guess you found yours, Jimbo.
Well, I'm born like that, George.
Arthur Langine says he hopes you feel better soon. And Rodriguez James says, I wonder if the main station GBN will invite Jimmy on air to enlighten Grenada.
Well, they wouldn't invite me, but I'm going to call them later because this came out late Friday and it's now Monday. So, and they've been pretty good. I don't know. I mean, it's it's a court decision we're talking about, nothing else, you know.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jimbo, and keep your promise. Come see me soon.
All right, George.
All right.
All the best, everybody.
Mr. James Bristol. Boy, was it good to see this guy again. We've been through it. We used to sit together at Presentation College, you know. We both wore short pants. I'm still wearing short pants. Okay, folks, we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to come on back, wrap it up.
GRENADABROADCAST Community Partnership Initiative.
This is not the first time that GRENLEC, through the GCPI, has responded positively to TAMCC, and we are always appreciative for the support. TAMCC, like the GCPI, is geared to service the community. As a college, we cannot accomplish our mission of fostering Grenada's development through education without meaningful partnerships from other community members. GRENLEC has been a leader in this regard.
GRENLEC, energizing our community.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
All right, my dear friends, just before we go, a couple more comments coming in. Ria Batiste says, I came late. Can you please shed some light? Sure, Ria. First of all, in just a few minutes from now, in 3 or 4 minutes, when we wrap up the program, it's going to be up there on Facebook. You can go on back, take a look. And within an hour or so, it will also be on YouTube. Take a look. It's also going to be on GrenadaBroadcast.com. Take a look. Okay? Can't get away from it. Margaret says, was actually wondering if that was going to make the news. But then again, they probably don't see the significance of the ruling. Right, Max? Rodriguez James says, I wonder, I started reading this comment a little while ago. He said, I wonder if the main station, GBN, will invite Jimmy on air to enlighten Grenadians on this significant development. You know, I have no doubt that it's going to get out in the open after this morning's program. However, whether or not, like Margaret is suggesting, the significance is made clear to the Grenadian people, time will tell. You know, I'm already making my mind up that this segment we just ran, I'm going to run it again on Sunday morning when that's when we have our mass audience. So, what else? I think that's it. Now, parting word. Today's word comes to you from the book of Romans, Romans chapter 12, verses 9 to 16. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless. Do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. That reading, 12th chapter of Romans, verses 9 to 16. Okay, let me see. I think that's it. Yeah. That's it for Georgie Porgy on this rainy, well, I don't know what's been happening over the hour that I've been here, but rainy when we started the program this morning. My dear friends, thank you so much. At the start of a brand new week here, I wish you the very best. Thanks for joining me, and may the good Lord bless and keep you.